Welcome, everyone, to Speak and Destroy, the entertainment talk show. I am your host, Andrew Garaventa. With me, as always, Stephen Reed.
I'm also still here. I've been here since episode 1. He hasn't let me leave.
We have not left the basement.
But I'm starting to sympathize with my captor.
Welcome back to the entertainment talk show. The first episode we did, which will hopefully be coming up
Wait,
soon.
this is episode 2?
Yeah.
No one said it was possible. They said nay.
They didn't believe.
But we did it. Now they shout witchcraft.
The first episode is hopefully going to be up within the next couple days of this recording.
Once again, shout out to John Abarca.
Yep, JJA of JJA Studios, who's doing the audio and editing for us. Thank you so much, dude. Again, a special thanks to Caleb Robo, who got us set up with the equipment. And a special shout out to Fist, the super team of Twitch.
Oh, yeah. www.twitch.tv/FistTeam.
Yeah. They also can follow you on Twitter at King of OK.
Yeah, me personally, and then the Fist Team is just
at Fist Team. And then I'm at AJ Garaventa. So the first episode, we cover the best movies of the year, in our opinion. Your top 10, my top 10.
This one's going to be a little different because, okay, as a normal person, I avoid movies that I think are going to be...
As a well-adjusted...
What's the word? Shitty.
As a well-adjusted human, you don't put yourself through torture.
But now that we're doing this, I decided I would. But you're so far ahead of me that I can't do it. So I'm just going to be the channel that focuses Andrew's red-hot, laser-like scalpel anger.
I work at, I think I mentioned this the first episode, but I work in a public library, so I've been able to rent a lot of movies that I otherwise just wouldn't have watched.
Yeah.
And so this is definitely gonna be my list of the worst movies. I think there's only a couple on this list that you even saw.
I think there's like 2.
So let's just dive right in. So real quick, some of the, I don't think we should call them honorable mentions, but the almost fucked up enough ones to make the list, I guess. There are a couple that I saw that I think they were pretty bad, but I wouldn't call them the worst of the year. These are more disappointments, I guess, in a way.
Did they hurt your heart?
Sort of. Not as much as the rest of this list did.
We'll call them Andrew's heartaches.
My heart aches. Not my heart breaks, but
it's
my
like
heart
when a parent's
aches.
like, I don't fucking hate you, Billy. I'm just disappointed.
So first up was Nonstop, which was
But that's taken in the air, isn't it?
Yes, it is taken by a plane. It was a Liam Neeson. Here's the thing that's really funny about Nonstop. It has a 60% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
60?
60.
That's a passing grade.
Yeah, that's and not only that, but it's the exact same grade that Rotten Tomatoes has given to Draft Day, the Kevin Costner football movie, which was on my best of the year list, which is hysterical to me.
Are you calling out shenanigans?
I'm calling slight shenanigans. Here's the thing. Like I said in the first episode...
Kangaroo Court. You're calling Kangaroo Court.
Kangaroo Court. It's a Kangaroo Court, as Charlie Day would say. The problem, I think, is that with Draft Day, it was a football movie, so I think mainly football fans liked it. That's why I liked it. So if you weren't a diehard football fan...
you have to like planes and murder to like Nonstop?
No, I think the thing is with Nonstop, it's a watchable movie, and it can be like slightly entertaining, but the more you think about it afterwards, you're like, no, that movie was pretty stupid. Because the whole thing is Liam Neeson is on a plane. He's an air marshal. He's kind of a drunk asshole, really. But like he starts getting these text messages that there's somebody on the plane who's going to start killing people every 20 minutes unless he gets unless the killer gets a reward.
Here's the thing with like movies that are like on a plane to me and stuff like that. It's very like, the plane's not big. It's not an open world movie then. Like, where's the bad guy? Oh, he's over there in first class. You can just walk.
And
there.
that's the problem with the movie, because the bad guys manipulate Liam Neeson into making it look like he's the hijacker.
How did Liam Neeson fall for that?
I don't know. But the problem is, it's just, there's so many plot conveniences, because it's like, he kills one dude that he thinks is a bad guy, and then the alarm clock goes off, and it was 20 minutes. And he gets a text, it's like, see, I told you someone would die. It's like, how did they know that they were going to be able to manipulate him perfectly into killing somebody at exactly...
It would have been, at that point, it would have been better if they, like, did a magical spin on the movie. Like, oh, I'm a psychic.
Yeah, exactly. And just been like, how did they know he was going to kill that dude at exactly the 20-minute mark?
Do you find out where he's going? Is it called Nonstop because he's going a nonstop flight to... Where's he going?
They're going to London, I think, or something.
Wait, is it... There, you said?
They're on a
with
plane.
his family?
No, it's just him on the plane.
Okay, good.
So the plane's going to London.
Liam Neeson gets... He's not good when he's like, my daughter.
Yeah. Here's the thing though, like the ending of the, like it could have been okay. It's just the ending of the movie gets really like weirdly political in a way, and I'm gonna ruin the ending of this movie.
About planes? To get political about planes?
No, about terrorism.
Man wasn't man to fly.
It ends up being like a 9/11 thing going on.
Wait, really?
Yeah, like the bad guys are soldiers who went to Iraq and are like, we fought a pointless war, and you know people aren't safer now after 9/11, so we're gonna crash this plane to prove that. And you're like,
okay,
what?
Like, that's all well and good, but a little late to the party.
Yeah, it was just like, this kind of feels weird. And then the best part is that it turns out that there's not one, but two villains on the plane.
You shut your fucking mouth.
I know. Twist.
This movie has everything. A beginning, a middle, an end. Two bad guys.
Yeah. But the best part is, at the ending, one of them's like, we're going to get the ransom money and parachute out this plane. And the other guy goes, dude, we're martyrs. You knew we weren't going to get off this plane. And the guy's like, what? And he's so taken aback that he's about to die, that the plan was apparently never to get off the plane, to die for this cause that they think they have. And you're like, what the fuck? How did the bad guys how were they not even on the same page, and yet they pulled off this brilliant heist where they perfectly manipulated. Yeah, they manipulated everything perfectly, and then one of them didn't realize, like, oh man, my partner wants to die in this explosion for a cause.
What's his name in the movie?
I have no idea.
I'm just waiting for fuck it, your name's Liam Neeson.
it's just Liam Neeson. So yeah, so it's not like a movie that you're gonna watch and be like, that was like a waste of all my life, but it's just one of the ones that the more you think about certain things at the end, I think it just starts to kind of crumble.
He needs to branch away from
he needs to get away.
Movies. Like The Grey was a good one.
Never saw The Grey.
That was a good movie. He punched a wolf in the face.
Yeah, but then it went to black. I know. It was like, duh.
Yeah, but
ambiguous.
It's still gonna punch it.
So the next disappointment was the RoboCop reboot. A lot of people didn't like this, I know. I didn't hate it. I think it's a decent action movie. It's just that it's a reboot that nobody wanted.
Did they bring back the dad from that 70s show?
No.
Then it's grade F.
Yeah.
Wait, but no one knew they wanted a Dredd remake either, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that was fun. But I mean, like, that's the difference is the Judge Dredd movie with Sylvester Stallone is terrible. Like, you can't...
You
No. Like, you can't really defend that movie as anything other than, like, maybe the guiltiest of guilty pleasures. Whereas RoboCop, like, a lot of people actually like it as a movie, as an action movie. Whereas,
yeah, that is true.
Whereas the remake, it was like... So when they remade Dredd, I think people were like, well, they didn't really get it right the first time, so let's see what they do here.
Quick tangent. If you like that, if you like the first Dredd movie, look up Dredd Club remix of Sylvester Stallone going, "You betrayed the law," and it's doing that song that goes, brown. It's great. If you're sad, you won't say goodbye to sadness.
Fantastic. So that was kind of that awkward moment.
That's Miles Teller, right?
Miles Teller, he was pretty funny. Michael B. Jordan, who's terrific. He was so good in Fruitvale Station.
Oh yeah.
Zac Efron, who's been getting better. He was funny in Neighbors.
He was very enjoyable in Neighbors.
Yeah. That awkward moment. A lot of people really hated this movie because the male characters in it are kind of douchebags. The reason it's a disappointment for me is because it had some funny lines, and the chemistry with the cast was there.
Yeah.
But I mean, the problem was that like it was supposed to be this romantic comedy for guys, and it was gonna try and like turn some romantic comedy tropes on their head. And
Did it?
No, because the ending of the movie, like,
is the world still spinning? Are we okay?
Yeah, like at the end of the movie, they just go with the cliche grand romantic gesture ending. Like, he pisses off Zac Efron is the main character. He starts dating Imogen Poots, who's a really underrated actress. Mm-hmm. She was great in that. But he, like, kind of does this douchebag move to her because he's like, oh, I don't want a relationship. And so, like, he pisses her off. She dumps him, obviously. And then at the end, he's like, I gotta get her back because she was the one. And he does the big, grand romantic gesture.
Blimp?
No, it was like one of those things where you saw it coming. Like, she puts on, like, these author talks at a bookstore, and like nobody ever comes. So he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go finally," and he never goes either. And in the movie, he's like, "I'm gonna go finally."
What a dick!
Yeah, and so he's like, "I'm gonna finally go and show up for her, and I'm gonna be the dude who actually showed up." And then he gets there, and it's become popular, and everybody's there, and it's kind of like, "Oh, we turned the grand romantic gesture on its head," and you're like, "Oh, that's funny." But then he gets up in front of everybody and reads this poem he makes off the top of his head about how she's the one, essentially. And you're like, "All right, no, you just did the cliched, quote unquote, grand romantic gesture." So it's like, if you're gonna make a movie that's trying to poke fun at the tropes of the genre, don't end up being another cliche rom-com.
So is it hard to watch Miles Teller in a bad movie now as you know his...
No, because he was funny enough in it.
Okay.
Like, he had enough good one-liners. I mean,
I feel like that happens to me sometimes. I was like, wow, they were so good, and then I watch it, I just get angry.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. But Whiplash came out after that awkward moment.
That's true, but it's still when you view it.
Yeah, so it's not like he took a step back so far.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess I might feel that way if Fantastic Four sucks, but...
It can't be any worse than the Fox one.
Yeah, exactly. So,
or the other previous Fox one.
So those are my 3 kind of disappointment, like dishonorable mentions, I guess. Nonstop, RoboCop, and That Awkward Moment.
Not shitty enough to chew off your cheek so much you bleed.
Yeah. Like, I watched those 3 and I wasn't like, I hate myself for watching them.
Do you feel empty inside?
With some of the other ones on this, I do.
Does food not taste like anything anymore?
You know that speech that Jeffrey Rush gives in the first Pirates of the Caribbean when he's talking about that curse? He's like, food turns to ash in our mouths. Yeah. And, like all that. That's how I feel because of some of these movies.
Who quotes Pirates of the Caribbean 1?
I don't know. I did.
If you ever get like... I imagine like someone like an alum of like some like Yale or something saying that speech at like our good speaker, food turns to ash in our mouths.
Oh, he's doing the Jeffrey Rush quote.
You're all going to die.
Interesting choice. Anyway, so let's dive into my worst of the year list. Again, Steve doesn't have his list because
I'm a normal person.
Yeah, you're not
if a movie's bad, I'm like, no, thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna dive into this list. All right, so number 10 is The Giver. This was the year that YA franchises looked at the Hunger Games and Harry Potter and Twilight and said, oh, they're really successful. Make every young adult novel series a movie.
Yeah.
And, so they
did like the Maze Runner.
Yeah, they did it. Maze Runner, Divergent, Vampire Academy. A lot of those are going to show up on my list. I never saw Maze Runner, but if you've never seen the Honest Trailer series made by Screen Junkies, that series is great on YouTube. Go look up the Honest Trailer. But they did an Honest Trailer for Maze Runner, and I just watched the Honest Trailer. I'm like, okay, I completely get what this movie is going to be. And clearly it sucks, so I never have to watch it.
Yeah.
But there are a couple that I watched this year. And The Giver was the weird one, because The Giver it's a young adult book, but
what
not...
What does he give them?
Memories.
Oh, no. Of hills?
Yes. Like, when did that book come out? That came out years ago. Do you have it?
I do have it up. 1993 is its publication.
So 1993. That was back before the whole boom of the quote-unquote YA franchises. It's technically, yes, it's a young adult book. A lot of kids reading in school. That's where I read it. But it's not, you don't think of it as quote-unquote being the YA so much like...
Yeah.
Like, when you say YA, I think you think Hunger Games, Divergent, Twilight. But this was kind of something different. And I think it's a good book it's a good book for younger people, but I just don't think it's a book that was ever going to work as a movie. And
Taylor Swift was in it?
Taylor Swift is in it. I'll get to that.
Is she The Giver?
No. The problem with the movie is that, like, they actually, surprisingly enough, I thought the Giver movie was going to try and be too much like the Hunger Games. But it wasn't. It was actually trying to be really true to the book, which is why it's a little bit lower on this list and not higher up. But, so, like, in the book, they don't have color. And I was like, well, they're going to cut that part, right? And then in the movie, the beginning of it is in black and white. So that was kind of cool.
How do they not have color?
I don't know. They decided no more color, I guess. So, again, it's an idea that doesn't exactly mesh well in a movie.
It doesn't.
But the problem is, like, in the book, the dialogue is very stiff and wooden because they speak in
it's very accurate and proper English.
If you've never read The Giver, the whole point is, like, they cut out slang, they cut out swear words, they just, to try and make this ultimate, conformity society.
What happened if someone's like, yo, dog?
Yeah, they'd be like, no, man. Well, they're like, no, man, don't do that. But I guess there's a line that they say if they'll kind of like scold them, be like, oh, imprecise language, use precise language.
You get 1 bullet.
Yeah. And it's like, there's like this whole thing where like they realize like anybody who's not conforming is actually getting killed, but they don't understand what they're doing type thing. They don't really realize what death is.
How do they not know what death is?
I don't know. It's a weird thing, but again, it's a kid's book that they just decided to make this movie. The problem is with that stiff wooden dialogue, nobody's good in the movie because of it. They're talking very properly and very, very structured sentences. And
very monotone, it sounds like.
Yes, it is. And so, like, the cast list, you have the main character.
So that means good actors become shitty actors because that's the way they have to talk.
Yeah, Meryl Streep, not good in the movie. And also, I feel like they really did kind of turn her character away from being she's like the leader of their community who is got everybody on the thumb. But they made her more like Kate Winslet's character from Divergent or, the villains from Hunger Games.
Everyone should take a bit from Divergent.
They should
try to become...
They shouldn't.
Everyone should hold a piece of Divergent inside them like a Horcrux from Harry Potter.
I guess. Jeff Bridges isn't particularly that great in it.
Come back, the dude.
He's kind of doing the same character he's been doing a little bit too much recently where he's got mush mouth and he's just like...
He sounds like Bane.
Yeah, he kind of does.
I'll give you memories of hills.
He's okay, but like the big emotional thing for his character is that his daughter was supposed to be the new, the whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing is he's this guy called the Receiver Memories. Like all of the memories of human history are given to him and him alone, so he kind of carries that burden. And then the new kid, the main character, his name is Jonas, becomes the new receiver. So he gives the memories to Jonas, thus becoming the giver. So he's transferring the memories.
He's turning him into Jeff Bridges?
Essentially. But the problem was, like, his daughter was going to be the next receiver, and then she couldn't handle it and killed herself. And you're like, all right, so that's an intense thing that needs to drive his character, and that's what convinces him that.
But does he really not like reference it? Do they kind of like?
No, they do, and that's the character that Taylor Swift plays. So you have Taylor fucking Swift playing this character. She can't really act, you just see her even in the movie. It's not even that she's that awful, but you're just looking at her, you're like, that's Taylor fucking Swift.
I know her.
Like, you just look, and all I saw when I saw her on there was just that stupid song.
You're saying you couldn't detach yourself from...
Yeah, no, you're just like, why, of all the people they got, why Taylor Swift?
Probably because she's like, can I do this?
Yeah, probably. And I mean, like, the main character's name is Brenton Thwaites. I don't know who he is. He's kind of a nobody who's just started.
The main kid? Jonas?
Yeah. He wasn't very good. Katie Holmes was his mom, who's also like the chief of police, essentially, and she wasn't very good. She definitely wasn't threatening. And then there's this girl named Odeya Rush. She's another newcomer. She plays like Jonas's childhood friend that he realizes he's in love with, and
Fiona.
She was terrible in the movie. Like, she just was. I don't know if we're gonna.
So I'm not a big fan of the name The Giver.
Yeah,
it sounds very sexual. I don't like it.
So I mean, I give it points for trying to adhere to the original book and not completely selling out.
Giver points?
I give the Giver points. But overall it was not a good movie. It just wasn't well executed.
And this was the beginning of Andrew turning into a golem-like creature of anger.
Just hiding in a dark corner somewhere.
This is the first rung up your ladder of bullshit.
Yep. Next one was Sex Tape with Cameron Diaz and Jason Segel.
Oh my god, I don't know how you did that. I saw that. I was like, nope. I didn't like their chemistry together in Bad Teacher.
No, exactly. And I don't know who saw Bad Teacher and was like, yeah, put them in another movie. Give Cameron Diaz another. This was the year that Cameron Diaz just kind of shit the bed as far as...
Yeah.
She had a bunch of bombs this year, and Sex Tape was definitely one of them, because like, the beginning starts off kind of funny enough, and it's raunchy, and it's kind of funny, and playing with that idea of like, oh, after marriage, your sex life dies out.
Yeah.
Which we've heard so many other comedians and comedic movies talk about in, with a better level of quality than this one does. It just goes off the rails after the first third of the movie.
Can we talk about the poster for this movie for a second? Because it's just right to the point. No bullshit. Cameron Diaz is like, oh my gosh, she's looking at that laptop. Jason Segel's looking at the person looking at the
why
poster,
am I in this movie?
He's like, I know I did How I Met Your Mother, and I'm really sorry.
The problem with this movie is the final third, the final 2/3 of it become like an advertisement for Apple products. The whole clinching point of the action that drives this movie is that Jason Segel buys 2 iPads at a time, one for work, one for home, and then every time a new one comes out, a new update, he just gives his iPads to other people and buys the new ones. And then he makes a sex tape with his wife, Cameron Diaz, to reinvigorate their love life, and somehow uploads it to every single iPad he's ever given out. So they have to run around and try and get back every iPad.
That would imply that he's not wiping them before he's giving them away. He's like, oh, here's everything. Like,
I don't know. They come up with this whole ridiculous reason of like, oh, it's this app that everything is like, because he's like, oh, I use this app to give everybody my music because I have good music to share my music.
That's a little condescending.
Yeah.
You don't know good music. I know good music. Have you heard of Clay Aiken?
It is terrible. And then the final third of the movie gets really off the rails, where it turns out like his best friend's son found the sex tape, uploaded it to YouPorn, and is like, you're going to give me $20,000 or I'm going to make it live. I'm going to let it go live, essentially.
I'm pretty sure there's like...
So they literally try to break into YouPorn to break their server, and Jack Black shows up as the owner of the website, and like probably one of the worst cameos he's ever done. And it's just terrible. It's not a good movie. And
can people just do that? Like, I feel like there'd be legal action they could take. Someone's like, I'm uploading your naked bodies to you.
I guess, but it's not well thought out, and it just tries to get like... It starts off innocent enough, not innocent,
guys,
but just...
Andrew is sweating right now.
Oh,
he looks like he has... Can someone WebMD jaundice?
It was not good. It's just like they try to put too much thought into how do we keep a movie going after they make the sex tape.
That's like...
And that was it.
I feel like that's one of the movies like, hey, the boss is drunk today. You can pitch any movie.
Yeah, it really was.
He's like, what? 2 people have sex? I'll do it.
Yeah, that's what...
Can I be in it?
So that was Sex Tape. All right, number 8. I think some people are probably surprised that this is so low on my list, but I Frankenstein. I watched it on Netflix because it's up there. The reason why it's not higher up on the list, despite the fact that it's a travesty of a movie, is that it's so unintentionally funny that it kind of works for itself.
Wait,
I feel like
really?
I feel like it kind of works as a movie that you can laugh at.
That's a shame because I really like Bill Nighy.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Nye, he's the same character he always plays in these movies.
Bill Nye?
Yeah, Bill Nye.
Old and British?
Yeah, old and British. Aaron Eckhart, not a great career move for him with this one, as he's trying really hard to be the new action hero guy. Yvonne Strahovski, I loved her in Mass Effect, and
she's also really good in Chuck.
Yeah, I heard she's good in Chuck. Yeah. She's pretty terrible in this one. I mean, just nobody's good in this movie. It's just a dumb, like, it's kind of in that same, like Universal's trying to reboot their Universal Monsters with this movie and Dracula Untold, and they're trying to make other ones, but it's just a generic action movie centered around the occult. It's a lot like Constantine, the Keanu Reeves movie, and the fact that it's not particularly good.
Okay, yeah.
But to me, like with Constantine, it's just so goofy that it's almost enjoyable. And it's one of those movies I feel like nobody's going to look at I, Frankenstein and be like, that was a great piece of cinema. But I think people are going to be like, yeah, I could get drunk with my buddies and watch that and turn it into a really fun drinking game.
Tagline, 200 years later, he's still alive.
Yep. They do the whole bit where they're like, it's alive at one point.
No, they don't.
Yep. I forget what it was in reference to, but they did. Miranda Otto, like it's about gargoyles versus demons.
I was about to say, does it have gargoyles in it? Because the first keyword of this movie is gargoyles.
Yes, it does. Instead of angels versus demons, they try to mix it up being like, well, they're actually gargoyles.
Well, that's just brave storytelling.
Jai Courtney's in it, so again, why do people keep giving him movie roles? I don't know. That's the biggest part that makes me nervous from the new Terminator movie is the fact that he's in it.
If someone had to put a gun to your head and like give me a fucking 5-second summary of plot synopsis of I, Frankenstein, what would you say? Aaron
Eckhart karate chops gargoyles and demons until they go up to heaven and hell, respectively.
That was amazing.
That was the movie.
You made me want to watch that movie.
If you have some beers or some drinks, it can be a fun drinking game. But the thing that
get alcoholism.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the thing that's so great about it is everybody in it seems to be under the impression that they're making a good movie. Like he's trying so hard to be Christian Bale from Batman. He's like, I hated my creator, and you're like, whoa, all right.
Wait, so it's that bad that like sometimes they just turn around and be like, we're in a good movie, right? They're just looking at you at the breaking point of the wall.
I really think that they thought that, man, this is a movie that's going to put us on the map.
Aaron Eckhart delivers a great line, just looks at the camera like,
he's like, come on, guys, how good was that?
Come on, Two-Face over here.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, all right, come on, stop it. So I, Frankenstein.
Number 7?
Not great. Number 7, it's not the worst movie he's done in recent memory because he's had some real pieces of shit. I know.
Can I guess?
What is it?
Is it Blended?
It's Blended.
Yeah, nailed it.
Blended.
What do I win? You can watch Blended. No.
Blended is not the worst Adam Sandler movie that's come out. Like it can't be worse than Jack and Jill or the Grown Up movies. But again, like the thing was, I think a lot of people were like, oh, he's had some real turds recently. Hey, he's re-teaming up with Drew Barrymore though, and they made Wedding Singer, which is arguably one of his best movies of all time.
Yeah, but people forget about the one in the middle, 50 First Dates.
50 First Dates, not good. It wasn't terrible though. I don't think it was as bad as the movies he's making now.
It wasn't bad, but the premise of it is terrifying.
Yeah, it is. It's a very terrifying.
Who are you, my daughter?
Yeah, it is. It was indicative of the slide his career was going to take, but I mean, Blended is just cliched and dumb. The thing is, like, it's first of all, it's this weird, wacky premise that essentially finds Adam Sandler as a widowed father of 3 daughters, and Drew Barrymore as a woman who just went through a divorce and she has 2 sons.
Whoa! The families blend together?
The families get blended.
Oh my god!
And it's just
so they did the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, except they did it like the whole blending takes place on an African vacation for reasons.
Why did so the 2 families went to the same vacation by coincidence?
No, there's a whole big reason for it, but I don't even feel like making you stupider for explaining it.
I kind of feel like not seeing the movie that they do some maybe like insensitive stuff, jokes about African culture.
You know what? It's vaguely insensitive, I would say. There was no part that I was like standing up being like, that's fucking racist.
Okay.
But the weird part about it was they never said where in Africa they were. That was the weird part. It's like, they're just like, we're in Africa. It's so cool being in Africa. It's like, there's so many countries there. There's so many. Are you in South Africa? Are you in North Africa? Like, where are you? Are you in Algeria?
Just give us
Tunisia, Morocco.
General place. Are you south? Are you in the southern part?
They're on the savannah. That's it. That's all you get.
Did they do a joke with a lion?
There is a joke with a lion.
You called it. I should write fucking movies.
There's parts of this movie.
Like, oh, you're a lion.
There are parts of this movie where you think that they're actually trying to make a sweet little movie about 2 families coming together. And then, like, there'll be a scene where he and Drew Barrymore kind of have an okay moment. You're like, all right, maybe there's some hope. And then the camera pans, and they're both like, uh-oh. And they're looking at two rhinos fucking. And just a rhino humping another rhino. CGI rhinos, by the way.
See, they couldn't get real rhinos to fuck?
No.
Where's the budget go?
The budget goes to the fact that Adam Sandler admits that he makes these movies because he wants to go on vacations with his friends.
He admitted that?
He essentially, I believe, call me out, if this is bullshit, but I believe there was a point when he essentially made a joke about the movie Just Go With It, I think it was, with
Jennifer Aniston
and Brooklyn Decker, where it was this movie in Hawaii, essentially. Yeah. And it was just like...
You're right, that would make sense, because they take vacations for reasons.
Yeah, they always just like, we're going on a vacation. And so, like, I'm pretty sure he at least made some type of joking acknowledgement of the fact that these movies allow him to take nice vacations with friends.
Make the acknowledgement that you're making shitty movies, and you should make funny movies.
So now he's got the new one, The Cobbler, coming out, which I started watching the trailer. I was like,
Is that based on the story?
It's about a guy who realizes he can make shoes that allows him to be... he's a guy who repairs shoes, and if he repairs your shoes with a certain machine in his shop, it allows him to be you, type thing.
So wait, if I brought my shoes there to be fixed and he puts them on, he's me?
He's you.
He takes over my body?
No, he just becomes a doppelganger you until he takes the shoes off.
Okay, because that was terrifying. It's still terrifying. I'd rather watch it if that premise of the movie is like, he makes cobblers. Peach cobbler, apple cobbler.
Yeah, so Blended, it's just not good. So, I mean, like, there were faint glimmers of promise, but at the end of the day, he just went with the same lazy jokes he always goes with. And he does that thing where he puts his unfunny friends into this movie, just be like, all right, guys.
So what you're saying is, if you're holding on to that ledge, ready to jump after seeing Blended, hold on until you see The Cobbler.
Let's say, like, no, because I was watching the trailer for The Cobbler, and I was like, this looks like he's going to try a serious movie again. Interesting. And then it gets to that point where he puts the shoes on and becomes the other person. I'm like, oh, no, never mind. Stupid. Stupid. Because he had that brief foray into serious movies, and like
they were good.
Yeah, and he had a couple good ones there, but then it was just like, no, I'm just gonna do these lazy Adam Sandler movies again.
Because that's what he wanted. Like, these don't bring me to Africa.
Yeah, they do.
I'd like to see Africa.
I'd like to go to Africa. Which country in Africa?
I feel like that's like he's just, all right, Mr. Sandler, what do you want to do? And he just has a dartboard that he throws at a map.
Yep. He's like, that's where we're going.
He's like, Pacific Ocean. No, I meant to hit Africa.
So yeah, that's Blended. Not good. Number 6, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I can talk about this one because I saw it.
This is like one of 2 that you saw from my list.
Yup.
Well, I've talked a lot, so why don't you go ahead?
I watched it based on curiosity alone. Huge fan. I grew up with Teenage Mutant Turtles.
I did not.
So well, you did. You just didn't watch it.
I guess.
You were like busy being like an adult, probably at age 5. Like, I don't have time to turn those taxes. But yeah, I grew up with it, so curiosity really got the best of me, which I think was their whole like thing. Like, that was the way they marketed it. Like, you have to see it because you're very curious, aren't you? And they got me like that. I'm pretty sure they got a lot of people like that.
Oh, sure.
I feel I don't hate it as much as purists would.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like the spirit of the Turtles was somewhat captured in some scenes.
Sure.
You can see it.
That elevator scene at the
like the elevator scene, like the Turtles. That's what they do. They joke around, but you can't help but feel Michael Bay is looming over this movie like a fucking giant.
All right, now get a shot of Megan Fox's ass. That's great.
That was cool, but I got rid of that whole part where you go into like the Turtles' backstory and like really like meet them as characters. And I did a 2-minute shot of Megan Fox's butt cheeks.
Good.
Because that's all it is. Like, even the Turtles make jokes about Megan Fox is hot. We get it. Whatever. She's hot, but like, there needs to be plot and there needs to be substance. I really feel like beneath that there is someone like, hello, I want to make a good movie.
Yep. But he just gets drowned out.
I will say, I thought Shredder was cool.
I would agree with you. I think Shredder was, he was visually cool and the fight scenes were cool. So I'm a little bit disappointed that there was no substance to him, and especially with the whole thing, obviously, that William Fichtner, a white guy, was cast to be Shredder. And then, people rioted because Hollywood keeps whitewashing all these roles.
Avatar, Last Airbender.
Avatar: The Last Airbender made them all white people essentially, except for Dev Patel.
Yep.
What is it? The new Peter Pan movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
Princess Tiger Lily is Rooney Mara. I love Rooney Mara. I think she's a great actress, but I'm pretty sure, like 100% sure, she's not Native American.
Yeah.
So, you have that one. The Exodus movie that just came out where all the Egyptians are white people.
But yeah, they lost it. And that was just for one person.
Yeah. People went crazy over the fact that they took the Asian character of the Shredder. Oh, Ghost in the Shell. People were talking about this on your Twitch last night. Ghost in the Shell.
I don't know if is that real? Is that confirmed?
Yes. Scarlett Johansson is confirmed to play the Japanese character of Ghost in the Shell.
But like, I feel like that's why at least a majority of the people hate this movie so much, because it felt like something was there and they just didn't give a shit towards the end. They're like, let's just make this movie
Yeah, and let's just goof it off.
But at the same time, there's other people, like you were saying this last night, it's not for us, they say, but I feel like it is.
That's a big question I have with it.
Because like, if your target audience is like 10-year-olds,
there's
like,
a few too much.
There's too many adult jokes.
Yeah, there's a little bit too much adult material in it.
There's way too much like pandering to Megan Fox.
Yeah.
Like I absolutely hated it. Will Arnett, what are you doing, man?
I don't know. I don't think he's really
that character should have just been written off entirely. I didn't like their rewritten origin story just to tie in with Megan. This is a Megan Fox movie.
It is. It's April O'Neil the movie.
Don't get confused. The Turtles are just there.
It's just like the Transformers movies in that people kind of hate the fact that the Transformer Michael Bay movies seem to focus so much on the human characters, and the Transformers almost feel like an afterthought sometimes. Well, that's how this movie felt. I watched this movie with our friend Mike Buckland, who was a lot more of a TMNT purist than I am.
Yeah.
And we counted. They actually don't get revealed officially until like 20 minutes into the movie, and it's only like an 80-minute movie. Yeah,
but then when's the first reference to Megan Fox being hot? Probably within like 3 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's by Will Arnett's character.
Exactly.
Like, they shouldn't have been pets.
He was creepy. I didn't like him.
Yeah, absolutely hated. How did they learn ninjutsu? Oh, Splinter read a book.
Yeah, Splinter just found a ninjutsu book.
And then decided like, oh, whatever. Yeah, I'll teach these to these turtles. Or Megan Fox's pets in this one.
Yeah, so I mean, it was too convoluted for its own good. That being said, I don't think it was completely like...
It wasn't complete garbage.
Yeah, I think that there was enough fun action that like I was like, all right, this is whatever.
But, yeah, but like I said, there was no like... You're just supposed to know, oh, Donnie likes machines, I guess, because he dresses like that or whatever. Like, they don't dive into how the Turtles' personalities.
Yeah, they don't. It's like, Raphael is the cool but rude dude.
I don't know, yeah. Raph is cool but rude. Michelangelo
is a party dude.
But, like, they don't... maybe I'm just nitpicking, but they don't do, like, ninja-y things. They just beat up people because they're physically... Very big.
And something our friend Mike pointed out while we were watching the movie is like their size seemed to change like shot to shot.
Yes.
And certain times they looked really big, certain times they didn't look as big. And also their strength seemed to change. And like one of the first scenes that they're in, they pick up and hurl a cargo.
They throw a Foot Clan ninja through a train.
Yeah, and like they hurl a cargo container at somebody, and then later they can't punch their way out of a plastic.
It's very inconsistent because there's a scene, remember, where I don't remember which turtle it throws into, but a turtle, I think it's Donnie, gets thrown into a truck, into that armored truck.
Oh, Raph did, I think.
Raph?
I think that was Raph.
And like he hits it, but like if you were to turn him around, he's like the same length as that car.
Yeah.
It was insane how big he is.
Yeah, and then the next scene he's like...
Next scene he's not that big.
Yeah, the next scene he's like just Megan Fox's height, essentially.
But like, and I know what you're saying, but go ninja, go! Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the original movies, come on, they were kind of dumb too.
They're kind of dumb, but I feel like that was part of the fun. I would rather watch those anytime, though.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's because, like...
And again, I think, referencing our friend Mike that I watched this with, he had that point. He's like, I feel like there are certain people who, like, wanted to make this a fun, dumb movie, and then people who wanted to be like, no, it's going to be a serious, legitimate action film.
And I feel like that's
why it's just like they couldn't come to terms.
Older ones work, because it's just a straight, fun, dumb movie the whole ride.
Yeah, exactly. And this one is like, it feels like at times that they're trying to make this whole big thing. Anyway, it was dumb. It was dumb. Maybe people have it as a guilty pleasure.
Turtle power.
All right, so number 5. Divergent.
Divergent? Divergent's only number 5?
Divergent is only number 5 on my list. I was thinking the thing that saves Divergent is that Shailene Woodley is not awful in it. And the character of Triss, if you're going to have these dumb YA franchises, look, I get it. I'm not the target demographic of these movies. You know, guy in his mid-20s, you know, it's not
doesn't matter
meant
who your
for
target
me.
Audience is. Make a good movie.
Exactly. But here's the thing. If you're going to make these young adult movies for, you know, younger kids, teenagers, give them better role models. And that's the thing that saves this movie, I think, is the fact that Triss is actually a decent heroine. Like, she's nowhere near as awful as Bella from Twilight.
She's an awful role model.
That is a terrible character. She's not stupid. What's her face from 50 Shades of Grey, who's like, I'll let him fuck her in the butt. I guess, I don't know. And, you know, even Katniss from Hunger Games, who's like the big go-to, you know, teen heroine, I feel like a lot of those books and a lot of those movies, it kind of like, she's just kind of there and things are happening that a lot of the plot from the Hunger Game books, she has nothing to do with. I mean, the entire plot of Catching Fire, she is completely left out in the dark.
she's just thrown in there. She gets in because she becomes an icon.
Exactly, and I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like she's not a terrible character.
But
she's a pretty good
let's
character.
dive into what I'm really curious about. Andrew, explain the plot of Divergent.
So, because all of these YA franchises take place in a nondescript future after some type of unexplained war, so post-apocalyptic, humanity is now living in Chicago. We're in Chicago, and they're split into factions, and each faction is made up of people who are comprised of only a single personality trait. So you have the guys who are kind, the people who are smart, the people who are honest, the people who are brave, and the people who are selfless. You have to, when you're a kid, decide which faction to join. And you take a test that tells you which personality trait you fit into. But if you have more than one personality trait, you're divergent and you're a threat.
What?
Yeah. But if you don't fit anywhere, you're factionless, which is not the same as divergent, because reasons.
That means you're like, what, poor?
You're just homeless, essentially.
Ugh.
Which I don't...
Okay, here's...
The movie's stupid because nobody is just one thing. And they even say that in the movie.
That's not what human beings are.
Yeah, there's even a character, like the main romantic lead in the movie, like has this line where he's like, I want to be more than just one thing. I want to be kind.
You already are.
Yeah, it's like, you fucking can be.
But like, so that means like, oh man, you saved me from that wolf or whatever. You saved me. You're strong. You're brave. And he's like, hey, that's fine. You want to bite my sandwich? You're kind too. Divergent!
Divergent! Get him!
Come!
Get him! Well, no, but that's the other thing, too. It's like, it's not only that divergent is just your more than one thing. It apparently means, like, shit doesn't affect you. Like,
what doesn't affect you?
Like, the big plot point in this movie is that the bad guys, Shailene Woodley's character starts out with the selfless people who are essentially, they're the District 12s. That's the joke everybody keeps making because that's who they are.
Are they the cool kids?
No, then she joins Dauntless, and those are the cool kids.
Those are the Gryffindors?
They are the Gryffindors. They are the guys.
What the Hufflepuffs?
I don't know. There's this one that's like farmer, so I guess it's bad. They gotta be the Hufflepuffs.
Warm today.
Yeah, warmer than it was yesterday. But like they, they're the Dauntless. They're the guys who they play war games and they shoot guns and they jump out of trains. They do parkour, and you're like, all right, these guys are insufferable because oh my god, it's every like kid who thinks he's a Gen Xer on a skateboard. But, like, so she joins them and then finds out that the main bad guy is played by Kate Winslet. What the fuck she's doing in this movie, I have no idea. Yeah, they're going to brainwash all of the Dauntless people and make them just train killers. And they put these drugs in them that make them essentially go blank, and they just control them remotely. And for some reason, because she's divergent, it doesn't work on her. There's no explanation.
So that's why they're threats.
Yeah, so there's no explanation of how that happens. It's just, oh, it didn't work on her because she's divergent. She's a threat, killer.
I just don't understand... Hunger Games, there is a reason for the Hunger Games.
Yes.
What is the reason of the factions? Like, they don't really
because that's supposed to be it works. We're just told.
Works for what?
It's just a system that works. That's all we're told.
The system, I can't see a scenario where that system works. Like, it doesn't seem like they were revolting before.
Yeah, I don't know. We have no idea. Factions. At least with the Hunger Games, we know that the reason that they're split up into these groups is because they went to war with each other.
Yeah.
And like decimated the country, and we're like, all right, you're now in these groups because fuck you, we won. We're going to tell you what's going on. Whereas supposedly these factions are all on equal footing, doing different things. And then the whole thing is like the smart people, the blue guys, they're blue. Obviously they all have color-coded matching outfits.
What are they?
They're the smart ones, and they're the evil ones, led by Kate Winslet, who are like, oh, we should be in charge.
Are they the erudites?
Yeah, they are. Erudite. So, I mean, it was just a terrible... I feel like a lot of people are giving it a pass because like, oh, it's a fun YA franchise, but to me, it was too dumb. And again, I know.
Look at the poster. Why is everyone such tight clothes in the apocalypse?
Because they gotta be sexy.
Other clothes could have survived, like corduroy pants.
Gotta be sexy. You gotta be sexy.
So if there's an apocalypse, they're like, oh shit, we gotta get sexy.
Yeah, might as well.
So like, the world's gone to shit, but everyone's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of talented people in here, and I don't know, man. You got Miles Teller, Shailene Woodley, Ansel Elgort. I don't know what they were all doing in this movie. Kate Winslet. I don't know how bad it was for them. They're like, all right, yeah.
Let's just read. Like, this is a movie. In a world divided by factions based on virtues, Triss learns she's a divergent and won't fit in. When she discovers a plot to destroy divergence, Triss and the mysterious Four must find out what makes divergence dangerous before it's too late.
What's his name? I think it's Theo Jones or Theo James or something like that. His name is Four.
Yeah, Theo James.
I don't know why I know that, but yeah, they're just like, oh, his name's Four, and they even make fun of the fact that it's a dumb name.
Did you just feel like cold after you watched the movie? Like your breath, like something came out of your body that wasn't supposed to leave, like your spirit?
Do you know that scene in Harry Potter where the
Dementors?
The Dementors are sucking their soul out. That's kind of how I felt at the Divergent.
Divergent is a Dementor. You heard it here first. We're trying to save you guys.
It was just... look, I'm going to keep reiterating. I know I'm not the target demographic for this, but that doesn't mean that, you know, it has to be this poorly thought out. There's just not enough reasoning for this system to be.
No, that's what drives me insane.
You want to know? It, yeah. You want to know why this whole faction system is, and you know, anybody who tried to defend this, you want to know why? Because Hunger Games worked really well with the whole district system. So everybody's trying to emulate that. That's what this person is doing. She tried to emulate that system of, you know, like the houses in Hogwarts. You know, you're split up in the houses. You're split up in the districts in Hunger Games. That's what they're trying to do here. Split them up in the factions, while also grounding this movie on that whole freaking feeling of taking the SAT and personality test in high school and being told, this will tell you what to do.
It doesn't fucking matter because you can choose your own anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing about this Divergent test. It tells you what faction to be in, but you can be like, no, I want to be in this one. They're like, okay. So
well, that's fine. So the test serves no purpose other than just be, like, annoying?
Yeah, I guess.
Also, I hate the tag. What makes you different makes you dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. It's this movie.
So if you're generally just like well-rounded person, you're a threat.
The movie just trying to pander to teenagers who feel like they don't fit in.
Eventually, they just go crazy. Oh,
that's
man,
the entire movie.
Divergent.
Yeah, that's the entire movie. It's just pandering to teenagers who are like, I don't know if I fit in. I don't know what to do with my self after high school. Boom! You're the target demographic for Divergent.
I guess I can tell you what you won't be doing after high school: being heroin and like a fucking dystopian future.
Yeah, I guess.
You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna get a job.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this movie doesn't get a pass, like just because it's not. I'm not the target.
You hear that? Andrew sees you, Divergent.
I hated it. So, but again, I think that the thing that saves the movie a little bit is that she's not terrible in it.
Yeah, she's good.
And she kind of kicks ass in it. Kills a lot of people. Kicked. Yeah, she gets her ass kicked enough where you're like, all right, she's not just immediately amazing like Katniss is.
Yeah.
And she actually has to train. Like the training parts were okay. And you're like, all right, yeah, they're kind of training, learning. Like the movie loses itself in the final third when it has a stupid, convoluted plot where it's like, gotta pit the young girl against the evil government. You know? But you know, she kills a lot of people in it, so that's kind of.
Andrew had called me after he watched this movie, and I think he was throwing up.
So that was Divergent. Number 4, this is the other one that you can talk about. Amazing Spider-Man 2. I know you didn't dislike it as much as I did. I think you actually liked it, right?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I hated it.
I'm curious. Give me some bullet points.
Here's
one. Spider-Man. Hate that guy.
Here's the thing. The only saving grace for me in this movie was Andrew Garfield, I think, made a good Spider-Man.
I agree.
I'm sad to see that he's not going to be the Spider-Man continuing as now that there's the whole MCU deal.
You know how I can tell I didn't enjoy like Amazing Spider-Man 2 as much as I think I did? Is because I was excited and I was like, oh, new movie.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they're redoing it.
Yeah. Emma Stone was fine as Gwen Stacy. They had a good chemistry.
There was good chemistry. They were the saving.
They're the saving grace. They were fantastic together. Problem is, it's just too many villains. Again, it's too over the top. Same problem I have with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They try to rework the backstory to make it so complicated. Just as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was like, oh, it's her childhood pets that her dad experimented on and blah, blah, blah. This whole thing is like, his dad's working for Oscorp and he's the one who figures out like how to make the spiders radioactive and shit, but he only makes it work with his family DNA, so Peter's the only person the spiders could have bitten and given powers to.
And he just so happened to be there.
Just so happened to, and it's just all too convenient and too much of an attempt to make this interesting mystery backstory. And it's like, we don't need that. He's already Spider-Man. Just focus on him being Spider-Man.
I think I brought myself out of that. I wasn't paying attention for the plots because the movie did got right amazingly. Spider-Man fights like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He wisecracks.
Sure.
And like I think I just like let my mind, because I'm biased. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero. And so I was just like, this isn't working. And Brain's like, no, it's fine. Just put up a barrier.
Look, if you liked it, it's fine. But like to me, the thing that I didn't like, I feel like Jamie Foxx as Electro started out okay, and I feel like the ending.
Had no driving force really.
Yeah, they just made him generically.
You don't remember me?
Yeah, they just made him generically weird and creepy. I did like the whole idea of the voices in his head. I liked the fact that they gave him theme music.
Yeah, I did like the voices in his head. I hated the whole part with the fucking stereotypical German doctor.
That's two of the things that ruined the movie for me. Is they had like these cartoonish characters, and the two foreign characters in the movie, Paul Giamatti playing the Russian.
Paul Giamatti, what? Like
terrible.
I wish I had one of those old things that old elderly people have to stick in your ear to like. Yeah. I didn't understand what the fuck he was saying.
He was just saying,
he's like, oh, that was spider.
Yes, spider. You want to fight me, a spider? And we're like, all right, we get it. You're trying to be Russian accent here. But it was like, and then, the German, this is the thing that ruined that scene. You know, there's that original teaser trailer showing Jamie Foxx's Electro, and he's giving the speech like, you want to know how powerful I am? I do too. I'm Electro. kind of a cool speech in that teaser trailer. And then you realize in the movie, the person he's giving that speech to is the generic
cartoony
like German guy. It's like, oh, ach, yeah. And you're just like, really? Come on, that's not...
He's breaking out the 9!
9! Oh. And like that scene is just terrible because it keeps going back and forth between Jamie Foxx doing this intense speech and that guy just being like, oh, ach,
I'm gonna say something. This goes for all superhero movies. You don't, especially Spider-Man movies, you don't have to do that scene where it's like, New York, stand up.
Yeah.
And fucking save the day. They didn't the first Amazing Spider-Man. I hated it.
It was terrible in Spider-Man 1.
I didn't like it in
Green
Spider-Man
Goblin had a fucking glider with machine guns and bombs on it, and a couple of New Yorkers throw garbage at him and go, you messed one of us, you messed all of us. He'd kill them.
That's why I give
he would
respect
shoot them.
to Spider-Man 2, because
they did that again, and then he was like,
he's like, okay, I have metal arms.
Yeah, I'm intense. Get
but
out of my
I will
way.
say, like, other than Spider-Man 2, they're better than the Sam Raimi ones. They just are.
I think so. I didn't really like Spider-Man 1. I hate Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 2 is like the one that's like, all right, yeah, it's pretty good. But like Amazing Spider-Man, I thought was okay. This one, I didn't like it that much. I just felt like the boss fight that he has against Electro was just too cartoony.
I will say,
where he's like bouncing around.
I didn't think they were gonna do it right, but they did. Gwen Stacy's death scene was really good.
Yeah, that was good, but I thought
I feel like that's why Green Goblin was shoved in there.
Yeah, that was my problem. They just shoved Dan DeHaan's Green Goblin in there just to kill her. But the fact of the matter was they ruined that in the trailer because they showed in the trailer the scene of her falling. So everybody was like, well, they're doing Gwen Stacy's death. And it was either that or like they're either killing her off, which they have to because that's the big formative part of Spider-Man's character is her dying, or they're going to rewrite it and like she's not going to die and everybody's going to be pissed because it's like they just ruined one of the most iconic scenes of comic book history. So for me, like Amazing Spider-Man 2 was like a decent distraction. I feel like this movie wouldn't have been as awful if it didn't come out in 2014.
That's a good, yeah.
Because it's going up against Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain America: Winter Soldier. It's going up against two of the most well-written, well-done superhero movies we've seen in ages.
And Sony, the partnership has taught you anything.
Days of Future Past was this year as well. Amazing movie. And yet we've got Amazing Spider-Man 2 here, which is just so painfully average that...
So you're saying, like, by comparison, also sinks it...
Yeah, by comparison, it just shows, like, how
because you're seeing, at the same time, how movies should be done.
Yeah. Superhero movies, if they want to keep continuing, they have to keep growing and evolving. They can't just be...
They can become stagnant.
So generic.
Yeah.
And that's the big problem with, like, Thor: Dark World. I think Thor: Dark World's pretty good, but compared to all the other... compared to all the other Marvel movies that came out recently, it's not that great. And Amazing Spider-Man 2 was just that generic superhero stuff.
Yeah, you watch it.
And for me, like, I wasn't completely like, I don't like this movie until the last 10 minutes. The last 10 minutes are some of the worst... That was the worst ending I think I saw of a movie this year.
Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah, because the whole idea, she dies, and he's, like, kind of in that depression.
They did the whole Spider-Man No More thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, cool. End it on that cliffhanger or something. And then they had that whole stupid scene with him and the Rhino when Rhino's in the whole metal suit.
There's no way fucking Rhino's giving a whole speech with his head exposed in a mechanical Rhino suit. No one's taking a shot.
Yeah, and they do that whole stupid thing with like the little kid runs out and Rhino's like,
Spider-Man, flip.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, you think you'll fight me, little kid? Ha ha! And you're like, oh my god, just stop it.
I kind of wish he didn't come, and we saw how that fight went out.
Yeah, turns
out the kid's amazing.
To me, that scene was just so over the top and stupid.
It was painful. I was like in the theater, like, you know how you sink down in your seat?
Yeah, you're just like
I am sad that I feel like he did a good job.
Yeah, I feel like
sad that they just gave him the boot.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of scapegoated him essentially of like, all right, we're gonna reboot it, and
it was your fault.
I know he made some comments. He made some comments of like how he didn't enjoy making the movie, and Sony was really pissed about that. So like I feel like that whole situation just kind of came back.
Yeah, that probably would put a nail in the coffin.
Kind of,
but like I hold on to hope. I'm very excited now. I'm very happy that
now that MCU's in charge.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what they do. But
yeah.
To me, I'm just a little bit worried that people are going to be like, "Oh my God, they're doing another reboot."
I hope they don't do a reboot. Like, flash forward a little bit.
I hope he just shows up and he's already Spider-Man. We don't need his origin story again.
Not again.
Or give us Miles Morales.
Oh, Miles Morales is amazing. But
give us Donald Glover as Miles Morales.
Donald Glover for Miles Morales.
There you go. A lot of people are saying it. Yeah. I want it.
I would love it too.
I know they're not going to do it, but that'd be great.
I'm glad the deal happened. I just felt like it happened for greedy ways, but I'm glad it happened because they're just like Spider-Man's so iconic. There's no reason we should not be making
great Spider-Man.
Ton of money.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, like, I think they're still going to try and do a Sinister Six movie now.
No.
And I think it'll work.
What about that Aunt May movie?
I think the Sinister Six movie will work now that there's a broader universe because he can call in help. That was the problem. It was just going to be him versus 6 dudes. Yeah, and I know he fights them like that in the comics, but that was the one thing that always kind of irked me about Sinister Six in the comics is just Spider-Man versus all 6 of these guys, and the whole thing was that he just had to fight him one-on-one. It's like, just team up on him and kick his ass.
You know the Avengers now.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyway, that was Amazing Spider-Man 2. Number 3, A Million Ways to Die in the West. I really, really liked Ted, and I'm actually pretty excited about Ted 2.
Oh, okay.
Because the trailer makes it look like, unlike a lot of comedy sequels that are just doing the exact same... Comedy sequels these days are just doing the same plot as the first one.
Then why do you feel
Ted 2 looks like it actually might switch it up a little bit.
Where do you feel like A Million Ways to Die in the West lost its way then? If
Million Ways to Die in the West lost its way because Seth MacFarlane's pop culture referential humor that he does so well, that is just the formation and the foundation of like Family Guy and Ted and all that, it didn't translate to the period piece setting. I appreciate that he tried, but it didn't work, and the jokes.
It's really sad because that was some great casting.
He had an amazing cast.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, but the movie just falls right on its face, and the big problem is that, like, there's all these jokes about life in the Old West, but I feel like for a lot of people, those would just kind of be like, all right, yeah, that's kind of funny. So he has to substitute the intense pop culture references with like either weird jokes that just kind of feel too out of the times. Like, there's a scene where he gets really drunk and he goes to get on his horse, and Giovanni Ribisi's character is like, oh, don't drink and horse, and you're like, I get it, because drink and drive.
Oh yeah, I see.
But it just kind of
substitute the modern.
Yeah, he kind of substitute the modern jokes for it. Just feels hollow.
But like, but at the same time, there's also stuff he's got. I'm sure he has to run into the ground because he doesn't know what else to do. Like, yeah, we get it. People died very early in that age.
And here's the problem too: is like he substitutes a lot of the, because he can't do so much referential humor. He has to substitute it with really, really cheap gross out gags. So there's a scene with like a sheep's dick. When he's trying to hide from...
You see a sheep's dick?
Yeah, he's trying to hide from Liam Neeson's character, and he's hiding amongst...
I'll be right back, I gotta watch this movie.
He's hiding from Liam Neeson's character, and he's hiding amongst his flock of sheep. And while he's like on the ground trying to hide, one of the sheep that is standing over him, like its dick comes out, and you're like, well, what the hell? And then it just pees on him. It's like, pee jokes. There's a scene where he's like gonna do a duel with Neil Patrick Harris, and like Charlize Theron knows that Seth MacFarlane isn't gonna beat him, so she kind of like poisons Neil Patrick Harris's water, so he ends up having diarrhea right in the street, and he grabs somebody's hat and is just pooping into a hat. It's just very, very baseline, like lowbrow, taking no risks humor, essentially.
Like kind of like them writing like the jokes and then looking at a watch on the wrist.
Yeah, and be like, all right,
it's not feature film length yet.
Throw a poop joke in there.
I guess Patrick Harris can just shoot poop out of his butt.
Yeah, I mean that's just what it was, and again, it was a decent cast, but a lot of funny people in there, but. Some of the funniest moments in the movie were ruined by the trailer. The best joke in the movie probably was the reference to Doc Brown, because there's a scene where there's a cameo from Doc Brown, and it's like the whole Back to the Future 3 reference.
Yeah.
And they put that in the trailer. And I'll say this: there is another cameo that happens right at the end that was pretty good. It was kind of one of those all right moments, and I'm glad they didn't ruin that. But again, it didn't save the movie for me.
Yeah.
You want to know what it was?
Say spoilers first.
Spoiler. I'm going to spoil the end of A Million Days. If you really care about A Million Ways to Die in the West, tune out. Tune out now. Jamie Foxx shows up at the end, and it's essentially playing Django.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because he kind of shows up, and there's this one character who's kind of racist the whole time. He just shows up at the end and shoots the guy, and it's like, yeah. And you're like, oh, cool, Django reference. But then that just makes you go, I just want to go watch Django Unchained. I don't want to watch this A Million Ways.
DiGiorno Unchained.
Yeah, DiGiorno Unchained.
It's not delivery.
So A Million Ways to Die in the West just kind of fell on its ass the whole time. It was just like a lot of the jokes fell flat.
So it felt like they've fallen and then like they never regained their footing. They're just constantly slipping throughout.
Yeah, and I mean and they tried way too hard to, the whole structured setting of this movie is this whole joke that, again, as you said, people died really easily back in the Old West. And so like that's the structure. And that's the thing that drives this movie, and it just gets to be a bit too much, where it's like, oh, here's another person randomly dying, because that's how you die in the West. And Seth MacFarlane's character is kind of a coward, so he keeps going on these references of like, oh, no, then you can die this way and this way. And it felt like they got a little bit, that whole structure kind of chokeholded them a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're like, we have to keep it in tune with the whole, quote-unquote, Million Ways to Die in the West thing.
Yeah, I guess. I mean...
Yeah, it just kind of choked the life out of it a little bit.
I can see disappointment in your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Ted, and I'm definitely willing to give Ted 2 a shot. I'm hoping that A Million Ways to Die in the West... The thing about Seth MacFarlane is Family Guy, at its peak, was really good, But then he tried doing too many things at once, and he tried to have 3 shows going at once.
I just hope, because I did enjoy Ted 2. I just hope this doesn't hurt him, because I don't think he'll be getting a star-studded cast like that for a while.
I don't know. That. Yeah. But, I mean, he's got Amanda Seyfried coming back. She was in this, and now she's going to be in Ted 2. So, I mean, I guess there are people who seem to really like working with him. Okay. Yeah. And Mark Wahlberg's coming back, obviously, so that'll work. The thing was, though, I mean, I guess maybe what this shows us is Seth MacFarlane is at his best when he's doing voice acting.
Maybe he's a very situational...
Yeah, he's a situational guy, and he does his best when he's doing his voice acting. It didn't really work out for him when he actually tried to get in front of the camera and be himself.
Yeah.
Although I will give him props for doing that.
Yeah.
I was kind of excited when this movie came out, and he wasn't playing some type of weird animal or something.
Yeah.
So, number 2...
oh, boy.
Vampire Academy.
Oh, yeah, this movie's good.
This movie's terrible. Oh, my God. If Divergent and The Giver weren't enough to make me convinced that YA franchises need to take a break, Vampire Academy was. I mean, there's just not much I can say about this movie besides the fact that it was awful. It was all basically unknown people in it.
Not Sarah Hyland.
Sarah Hyland from Modern Family trying to play the villain was just... It made me laugh. It was laughable. Not amusing, not like they were trying to be funny, but it was just...
imagine you rocking back and forth in a straitjacket, and just one TV going, ha, ha, ha.
Gabriel Byrne is the other main villain. You're like, dude, you were in Usual Suspects, one of the most iconic movies, one of Bryan Singer's best movies of all time, and now you're in fucking Vampire Academy. What are you doing? I mean, it's not good.
You can just tell by the thing is they suck at school.
Yeah, the tagline for this movie is they suck at school, and that's way too apt. It's too apt of a freaking tagline.
Reading that, I just made a fist, and I don't even know why I did it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the idea of, this vampire royalty goes to this school because they have magic in this world. Vampires have magic that they learn to control. And then they have humans who are also in the school as their bodyguards.
Why are humans the bodyguards of vampires?
Because they just are.
I guess they can watch them during the day?
Yeah, and the humans and the vampires don't feed on the humans. They have, volunteers who come, and, it's almost like giving them... a blood donor thing. They come and they hang out with them while they suck their blood. It
sounds like a peaceful utopia. What's the problem?
The problem is that there are evil vampires, and these are the ones that have killed people, and that's why they're super evil. So they're the generic bad guy vampires. But
why do they need to kill when blood is just offered to them?
I don't know, because movie's dumb. But I mean, the main character, she's trying to be this Katniss Triss style heroine, but she literally gets saved by the dude the whole time. She has this dude that she has a crush on, and he saves her literally every time. Both times,
multiple situations where that occurs.
2 times in the movie, she gets faced with an evil vampire, and she's like, "Oh God!" And in the beginning, she faces an evil vampire, and she just freezes up. She's so scared, and the dude saves her. And in the end, she's facing off against an evil vampire, and you're like, "All right, this is where she's gonna redeem herself and prove herself." And she gets her ass kicked, and then kind of starts cowering and hiding, and the dude saves her. And you're like, "All right, come on, what is this? How is she supposed to be an empowered heroine when she's just getting saved the whole time?"
Okay. I'm going to read you one of these keywords, and you tell me how this is connected to this movie, because it's weird. Montana.
I don't know. I don't know how that's connected.
This is Montana.
Is
Vampire Academy in Montana?
Maybe.
Or is that where they filmed? I'm going to click
I have no idea. Maybe it was where they filmed. But, yeah. Terrible. Here's the thing that sucks about this movie, too. It was from the director of Mean Girls, so you can tell they're trying to make it like Mean Girls the whole time. But it's
guess what? Tina Fey's not writing it, so it's not Mean Girls.
Yeah, it's the writer of Heathers was on it, but... this was nothing like Heathers. The problem with Vampire Academy is it's trying so hard. It makes so many jokes at Twilight's expense to try and be like, look, we're not Twilight.
Doesn't realize it's making itself a joke in the process?
Yeah, you're not allowed... You don't get points for making fun of how bad Twilight is and then not being much better yourself.
Not only that, but, take a little, subtlety to it.
Yeah, they make a couple jokes they're vampires, but it's not like they glitter in the sunlight or something. And it's like, all right, if you're gonna make those jokes, be better than Twilight, but don't just try and say don't try and make me laugh at Twilight's expense and be like, well, I guess this could be worse because I could be watching Twilight. It doesn't make you a good movie. You don't get points for that.
You get points taken away.
Yeah, I mean, all the actors and actresses in this were mostly unknowns. They're all terrible. There's one kid who's in this. He's a redhead kid. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he was also in The Giver. He was terrible in both movies. And that's sad because he played the character Ian in The American Shameless. And he's terrific in The American Shameless, but he's awful in both of these 2 YA movies. So, and I think he's playing the proto-Joker in Gotham right now.
Is he the Joker? Is he not the Joker? Who cares? Don't watch Gotham.
Yeah. So, yeah, anyway, Vampire Academy, this was the one that I was like, why did I? This is one of the ones that I was like, this wasn't worth watching to make this list. I'm sorry, everybody who's listening. Love you guys. Thanks for listening, but it wasn't worth watching Vampire Academy.
Cameron Monaghan.
Monaghan,
sorry.
Cameron Monaghan. Yeah, he was great in Shameless, but he's terrible in these two movies. I mean, he's awful. So Vampire Academy can really just go.
Suck it.
Yeah.
Nailed it! End of podcast! Play the outro music, editor who doesn't exist.
Well, no, we got one more to go.
Oh, here it is.
The worst movie of 2014, Transformers: Age of Extinction.
Yeah, even with Grimlock?
Grimlock's in it for 5 minutes. He doesn't do shit.
He transforms into a dinosaur.
Yeah, that's it. And Optimus Prime rising bareback.
He's the king of dinosaurs. Show some respect.
The problem with Transformers is that, again, Michael Bay didn't learn any of his lessons. Look, just make a movie with robots fighting robots.
That's partially our fault.
I know.
That he's not learning.
That is the problem, is that these movies are making way more money than they should. But I mean, you know, most reviews in these movies is that I've heard.
Broke, don't make a good movie.
It's the movies are terrible. Like, look, if you want to make a movie about robots fighting robots, that's fine. I'll see that movie.
Just have what you promised in the movie.
Yeah, and like honestly, one of my favorite movie trailers was for Transformers: Dark of the Moon, because that trailer made it look like it was just going to be complete balls to the wall.
I lied to you.
Decepticons invading Earth and the Autobots being like, "Oh no, we got to do this." Whereas that movie was basically 2 hours of Shia LaBeouf trying to decide what to do with his life, and then maybe a little bit of the Decepticons and the Autobots.
I also feel like well, at least with the Autobots, they don't act like how Autobots should act.
No, they're kind of assholes, and they kill
they're
people.
kind of assholes, and Optimus is kind of like a moody little bitch.
Yeah, and it gets worse.
He's like, stupid humans.
Yeah, we're done defending the humans.
Transforms into a fucking truck.
Like, at least Shia LaBeouf is gone and his whole character arc is gone, but we get characters that are much better. We get Cade Yeager, played by Marky Mark. Mark Wahlberg is one of those...
I'm an inventor.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Wahlberg is one of those people, like, he's terrific in certain movies, and then in a movie like this, he's awful. So he's really back and forth. But he's pretty bad. You get his daughter, played by Nicola Peltz.
Wait, and how old is she in this movie?
Here's how bad this fucking movie is. The plot and action of this movie stops to explain why it's okay that her character, who in the movie is 17, is dating a character who's 20. Nicola Peltz, I believe, can you pull it up on IMDb and find out how old she is? I know she's over 18 in real life. She's over 18, so I don't understand why they didn't just write the character to be 18. Why stop the movie to be like, he's technically a pedophile right now, but it's fine because of reasons.
But it's all right because...
Here's this half-assed excuse we pull out of our ass, and I was like, here you go.
You hate this movie so much.
I hate this movie. And then, like, and again, like, all the shots of her in these tiny little shorts.
Don't they even reference it?
Yeah, like, all these shots of, like, where she's in shorts, and Mark Wahlberg's character's like, honey, your shorts are shrinking by the day. It's like, don't put her ass in the shot and then tell me the character's 17, because that makes this situation so freaking creepy. It's already creepy enough that you got this camera just right up on her ass, but then to be like, and she's 17 too, so now you feel like an accidental pedophile, so good for you.
But she's born in 95.
95, so that is...
Oh, math!
Math question.
So she's, I'm terrible at mental math.
She is 20, I believe.
Yeah, because...
Yeah, she's 20, so why not just make her 18 or 19? Like, I don't understand.
We really showed off our math skills there.
Yeah, doing math.
We graduated high school.
Yeah, and college.
Yeah, he graduated college. Look at me! Look at me! If you're glad to be pushing up at college for day.
But, like, look, all right, I get it. She's attractive, but don't make her 17 and then do, like, all these pervy shots.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's just stupid. The whole idea there is that Cade Yeager's character, Mark Wahlberg's character, is an inventor who is... They're literally, like, behind on all their bills. She's a high school senior who doesn't know that she's going to be able to afford college anymore. So I get that was the whole point of the character, is that she's 17 because she's in high school and on that verge of being like, I want to go to college, but my dad can't afford to put me through college.
How bad is Mark Wahlberg of a dad? He didn't know if she was dating this dude.
Pretty bad, apparently. But then, like, it's just like, all right, like, if you want to do that storyline, you can still get away with her being in high school and being like 18 or 19. If their family's having that many problems and financial problems, you can totally probably be like, oh, she had to take a couple years off to help her dad.
Or scrap it all together.
Or don't do this movie at all.
Yeah.
Like, you could do that. Ken Watanabe plays a samurai Transformers who speaks in a pidgin English. Like, oh, hello!
There's always some racism in all his movies.
He calls Optimus Prime Sensei.
The first one was Jazz.
Yep, Jazz.
The second one was
hey there, little bitches.
Yeah, it was those two.
Mudflap and something like that.
So fucking.
Weezy's illiterate.
Yeah, Weez don't talk good. The fucking Jar Jar Binks of Transformer world, and then this one is obviously that. Which
yeah, it's just like Asian stereotype.
Dark Moon was next.
There was the Cockney British, like cliche, not so much racist, but stereotypical Cockney.
Yeah, there's just either stereotypical or just plain offensive material.
Yeah, and like this movie, the whole ending, the whole pandering to Chinese audiences, because now Michael Bay knows that the way to make these movies successful.
There's no reason to go to China, was there?
No, there's no. They're literally after 2 hours of this movie, they're like, all right, now we have to go to the Chinese factory.
No one's like, why?
Here we go. And now we're there.
Why would that go?
It was awful. Let's
really talk about product placement.
Terrible. So much of it, obviously. So much, and it's not even subtly done. Like, look, if you're gonna have products in your movie and they're kind of in the background,
that's okay because that's real. That's what would happen if two robots were warring against each other.
There'd be product placement, sure.
Yeah.
There'd be accidental product placement.
Yeah.
But just don't do it like this, where it's like Mark Wahlberg like drinks a Bud Light and like almost is holding it in front of the camera, like, see, Bud Light, woo. It's an awful movie. It's really a travesty. Kelsey Grammer plays the worst villain of the year. Probably one of the worst villains of recent memory.
Oh, it's disappointing that Stanley Tucci was a part of this because I really enjoy Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci tries. He tries. But yeah, he can't save it.
Isn't there a part where he just goes, "Oh my god"?
Yeah, there's just parts where he's just yelling, "Oh my god!" He starts off as kind of an asshole, and then suddenly by the end of it, he's kind of a good guy, and he's on their side and shit, and they're all hugging at the end. You're like, what?
He hugs a Transformer?
No, he hugs Mark Wahlberg.
I thought he ran up to Optimus like I love you.
I could go on and on about the movie again, like Dark of the Moon. The plot changes multiple times. Like in Dark of the Moon, the plot changed so many times. The bad guy's plans changed so many times. And this one, it's like, here's this guy named Lockdown.
Tucci's the bad guy. Lockdown.
They lockdown.
Galvatron. Uh-oh, Galvatron's Megatron.
Yep, Galvatron's actually Megatron. So Megatron's back. Uh-oh. Decepticons kind of got their butts kicked, so Galvatron's running away. Uh-oh, Lockdown's back. Uh-oh, Kelsey Grammer's here. He's kind of insane. Uh-oh. Like, it just keeps... And it's 3 hours long.
Yeah,
this movie had no right to be that long.
It doesn't get to be as long as Titanic.
No, absolutely not. It's terrible. Really, at the end of the day, Transformers, you're a pile of shit and I hated you. So.
really just cut right there.
Oh, that was painful. There were a lot of bad movies this year.
It sounded like you had a bad experience in the bathroom. That's how you're talking, right? Like, woo!
I mean, look, 2014, I think, was one of the best years for movies in recent memory, but that didn't mean that there weren't some awful ones, and these were my 10 least favorite. So
I would have to agree with you. Like even though I didn't watch them, like your list is like what I stayed away from. Like actively, like this looks terrible. I will not watch this.
Yeah, you don't want to go anywhere near some of these movies. I mean, they're just terrible.
Will Transformers 5 be any better?
No, it won't. But I know we're gonna get one. Like it's gonna happen, and I'll probably see it and then bitch about it on a different podcast. So like we have that to look forward to. So that was.
Hope you enjoyed Andrew's red hot rage, just spewing everywhere.
Those were the worst movies of 2014. For Speak and Destroy, I'm Andrew Garaventa. You can follow me at AJ Garaventa.
And I'm Stephen Reed. You can follow me at King of OK or at Fist Team on Twitter. Now I'm gonna go bring this guy to the hospital.
I need like a long shower.
I'm gonna hold you, officer and gentleman, in the hospital. Like he's dead. The doctor's like, did you do a fucking podcast about the worst movies of 2014?
I did.
He just brings me through. Throw him with the others. It's just a room of dead people.
You know that scene in Casino Royale? I keep referencing different movie scenes to describe how I'm feeling tonight.
Yeah.
Remember that scene in Casino Royale where Eva Green's character is just like in the shower shaking uncontrollably? That's how I feel right now about this list of movies.
All right, we're going to go. If next episode might just be me because Andrew might be dead. I'll tell